Hi, I'm Sandy Genovese, and today I want to feature another Christmas card to get you plenty of time in order to collect your supplies and make your cards and still get them in the mail by early December. The one we're going to look at today is sometimes called a flipper card, or I call them a flip-flop card. Notice it will fit in an envelope. I always say how important it is. The largest envelope size that I could find easily without custom or anything was 6 by 9, which is what this envelope is. Here's the card that fits inside, and it's called flipper because when you pull, it flips to reveal, in this case, a photo. Of course, if you don't want to send a photo, then you have this inside section for whatever you want to say, whatever message or whatever additional embellishments you want to place. In order to create the card, we want to start first with the flipper action, but I want to explain the dimensions. I wanted the card to fit into a 6 by 9 envelope, so the dimension this way had to be 5 and 5/8 was the biggest it could be. And then I wanted to be able to get 2 cards out of every 12 by 12 piece of paper or cardstock. So that dictated the dimension this way. The dimensions of the card you're going to start with is 5 and 5/8 inches by 11. And then, because you're going to do so many of these, instead of trying to mark all the measurements on here, I found that it was easiest to make guides. So my photo had to be just slightly smaller. I start with a 4 by 6 photo, but I had to trim a 1/4 inch off the 4-inch section. So instead of 4 by 6, it's 3 3/4 by 6. And I have folded it in half in order to mark exactly where the middle is and just draw in the middle with a pencil line. On my card, I've also, with a piece of copy paper, I've folded 5 and 5/8 in half so that I could mark with a pencil exactly where the middle of this card is. This then is going to sit, and when the pencil lines, the middle pencil lines line up, you'll know that it's right in the middle. However, you still need to know how far to come in this way and how far to come in this way. Once again, you're going to do a lot of these, so make a guide. You want to come in 1 3/4 inches from this end, which tells you where this guy's going to go, and 3 1/4 inches from this end, which gives you the other side, and you can see how he's going to sit right in the middle like so. So that says, all right, once you have this end and this end aligned with your guides, then double check and make sure that you have your pencil midlines lined up, and then take your pencil and trace all the way around this guide for where your photo is going to be. Now that gives you that placement. We need to look at the folds that are going to be the swivel part of the card. So I just use the flip side as my guide for this. You want to come in 2 3/8 inches from both ends and mark, which means you're going to have this channel in here that's 1 1/4 inches. You're going to use these to mark on your card itself, and then with a ruler, I've marked them with pencil, but really you don't have to. I want you to see that I've marked them. You're going to lay your ruler down, and I've gone ahead and drawn a pencil line, but I'm going to score it. So I'm going to score not where the photo goes, only the end beneath the photo. So I'm going to score this section and this section. And then I'm going to do the same thing. The marks that I've marked with pencil, I'm going to score 1 1/4 inch away from that first line. Give it a nice good score. So you have the card scored. Now you need to cut, but you don't cut the whole thing or it's going to fall out. We're going to only cut, if I set this back down, I want to make sure you realize we're going to cut around here, stopping here. This is going to hold the card intact. It creates the swivel motion. So with the X-Acto, and I'm going to set my thing and cut it in a minute, you're going to start at this line and cut around here and stop at that score, and then come over here and do the same thing. You're going to start at the score line and cut and stop at the score line. Now in order to cut, of course, you need to put your cutting pad underneath, and then I'm going to, I think it's easiest to start right where that score line stops. Following the pencil, I'm just cutting along my score line. When I get to the corner, I'm going to continue cutting with my X-Acto. I'm using really strong, sturdy cardstock because it's going to hold a photo, which is pretty heavy. So you want to make sure that your card will stay nice as it swivels when it's swiveling something as heavy as a photo that's on photo paper. So as I go like this, if you see any little sections that didn't cut all the way, then you're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Start at the score line and cut and stop at the score line. As you do the last bit of cutting, you'll end up with really all the cuts and the folds and everything marked that you need to do. Now when you start with the card, I am going to turn it over so my pencil lines are on the back, and I'm going to mount and fold. If you think of this as notice how I came in, what was it, 3 1/4 inches from this side, and I only came in 1 3/4. From the 1 3/4 side, I'm going to do a mount and fold right on the score lines. And if my score wasn't perfectly straight, this is the time you can fix it by just lining up the card. So you get your score lines. And then you're going to do a valley fold on the other score line. And before you fold it down strong, do the same thing just in case it wasn't lined up really straight. You're going to lay it down using your guides. You're going to fold. So this will give you, let me see, turn it this way. This will give you the guts for the card. So now, of course, this has the pencil line, but we're going to cover over it. However, anything that you think might show, you can go back, with your eraser and erase any of those pencil lines that might be showing. The middle line is certainly going to get covered. So this gives you the swivel action for how this card works. Now it's just a question of decorating. And if you look at mine, I'm going to just quickly show you this. I wanted to look like a front door. And the way that I did that is I took and I cut a piece of white that was the same size, 3 3/4 by 6. And I'm going to just put adhesive. Remember, you're going to do more adhesive than I am. I'm putting enough just to hold it together. I'm going to place this on what would be the front of the card, just going from edge to edge. So already you can see how it's starting to get nice contrast. Now to create the door, what I've done is I've layered up a deeper shade of white, or kind of a cream color, and I've cut it so that it looks like door molding, just using the paper trimmer or using square or rectangle punches. And by cutting them one slightly smaller than the next, you get what really looks like door molding. And then if I place these, I'm going to put adhesive on the back of all of them, because then it's faster to put them to make the door. So if I take, and I'm going to place each one of these so that it looks like a front door with sort of an even amount, kind of eyeball the spacing all the way around. This starts to give you the look of a pretty elegant looking front door, I think. I'd like this to be my front door. And then to finish it off, remember you have to make a lot of them. So a sticker is a quick way to add a wreath to the front. This is a Mrs. Grossman's beautiful wreath sticker that I'm just going to place, about where you'd have a wreath on the front door. And then you can add, in this case, either little punches, or remembering that you're going to make a lot of them, you can go back with the felt pen and you can also draw what would be little door handles to finish what looks like the front door. Now for the inside, this is where you're going to place the photo. So all you have to do is just take your photo, trim off the quarter of an inch so that it allows you to place this inside. So I'll take my adhesive and I'm going to do the streamline version. You'll put as much adhesive as you need to hold it in, but I try not to put too much adhesive on the photo because a lot of my family peel it off and they like to save it. So there's the photo that's going to go on the inside. Now for this decoration at the top, basically it's easiest to just open it back up and you're going to decorate this top section. Well, you can take patterned paper and you can cut around this section, but I found that it was fastest to just piece it. So I've cut, this piece is about an inch because that's about the dimension of the top part of the card before the swivel action. So I'm going to line this up with the top of the card. I'm going to line it up, and then it's easiest to just piece another piece down here. So I'm going to place a little section here, and I'm going to go back and trim that off, and a little section on this end. And that way it still feels like one solid piece of paper. And then all I have to do is go back with my scissors, turn this around. I don't know if I can do this so you can see, but I'm going to trim off the excess of the green. And do the same thing on this end. Trim off the extra. Now I don't have very much adhesive, so when I try to fold this, it's probably going to be a little funky. You're going to want, it's another reason why you want solid adhesive, but it's enough for you to see how it's going to work. And then the final element, I won't even stop to glue these in, but I just took scraps of pattern paper that looked good that I could attach to these sections here. This one's going to go all the way to the inside so that when your card swivels, you have a nice photo and a nice area. I'll go back to the original so you can see. Now, if you have a long message, this may not be the greatest card for that unless you write your message on a separate piece of paper. But there's a few places. Behind here, when it swivels, is where you could put, in my case, Love Sandi or Merry Christmas, or you also have the entire back section of the card, or many of my friends in the holidays send Christmas letters that they do on the computer. All of those are choices. This is for Christmas. The same card, if you like how this went together and you want to do it for birthdays, thank yous, congratulations. Here are some that I have that are part of a company I'm licensed with, of boxed cards that are already made up, which is why they look all pre-printed, because they were, but of course I created all the originals. Here is a birthday one that says you take the cupcake. But notice the swivel action is the same. Here is one that says heartfelt thanks. On my original, I actually have my scrap ribbons in there. Here is a birthday that says happy birthday, kick up your heels and celebrate. See how the same action, how well it translates to all these other themes. Here is for a cute as a little button congratulations card for a new baby. And if you just have a friend and you want to send just a note, this works great for saying hi. If you have somebody who's not feeling well, maybe they broke a bone or they just don't, they have a cold, Band-Aids are always good with a nice ow and hope that they're feeling better. And then here's another one. It's your birthday. Make some noise. So you can see how well it translates to all these different themes. You know, the way the card swivels to reveal a photo, it makes it a great choice for a holiday card that you're going to enjoy making and sending to your family and friends.